Hey, Vira, glad to have you here with us. This is Vira. She's the owner and proprietor here of Sovian, and this is Kevin Pitts. Many of you know in Georgetown know Kevin from his service here, and he works with our bank. But we just wanted to get together and talk about what was going on here. This is a brand new restaurant, brand new concept in your food chain of restaurants. For many people, this would be a scary thing to open a new restaurant in these inflationary times and all that. But you saw something in the market and said, not scary for me, let's go, let's do this. What made you feel like that this was the time to do it and the place to do it? What brought you here?
Well, we only have one restaurant in Georgetown, Le Rive in downtown, and we have two other restaurants in the neighboring city, Temple, Texas, which is about 30-40 minutes drive from here. And I knew that, doing my market research, that Georgetown needed a place like this, a steakhouse. So I jumped on the opportunity and opened this up.
What are your restaurant names in Temple? Just so everyone knows, they get the context. You have two in Temple?
Yes, I have. Yeah, so I have two in Temple. Le Rive Wood-Fired Kitchen. That's a Italian restaurant, and I have 3 West Ale House and Grill. That's a sports bar in west side of Temple, and then I have one here, Le Rive Georgetown, or Le Rive Wood-Fired Kitchen Georgetown. That's a second location, and then now we have Sovian Steakhouse.
And what's the Sovian concept?
So it's a European-inspired steakhouse. It's literally, inspired by all my travels in Europe, mainly Southern Europe, south of France, a little bit of Italian, a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of a warmer climate, and delicious food, of course. And I wanted to create a place that it feels that you're in Europe, but doesn't feel so intimidating, and just bring us a little bit of a class, And we're in Texas, so steaks goes well.
Yeah,
that's what everybody loves here, and with my background in wine as well, I wanted to bring an extensive wine list. So, it's almost like everything kind of mashed together for a perfect timing.
We also have a nice bourbon list here too. The soft opening, I was really impressed with the bourbon list that was offered. But the concept, the new concept here, you have Le Rive Temple, Le Rive Georgetown. Did you look at thinking about opening another Le Rive in another market versus this location, or did you look at other markets? Why Georgetown? Why this concept in Georgetown versus kind of replicating what's already worked for you in other markets? Temple and Georgetown, obviously.
Sure. I always said that I can open Le Rive with my eyes closed in every single city. It feels like it's in my DNA. That's my very first restaurant that I opened about almost 12 years ago.
Wow.
And it's the restaurant that's really near and dear to my heart. It's a very successful concept. And, soon probably I would open more Le Rive, because that's really who I am. This is a little bit outside the box, and even in business we get so complacent in our own places. And as a chef that I want to grow, and as a brand that I want to grow, and I knew that this is a void in Georgetown, and I wanted to fill that void using all that expertise from owning multiple restaurants. So I thought, okay, I know it's a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit of a learning curve for me, but I just saw a great opportunity in Georgetown, and that's when I said, okay, this is something I can also grow into it as a professionally, and the town will probably support it as well.
You mentioned the steakhouse concept was a place, or particularly this type of steakhouse was something you felt like was a void that you could fill. Was geography a part of it? I know Le Rive Georgetown is over on the square, which is east of I-35. Was this more of a geographic play to be on this side of town? Was the space that was available that was attractive, or anything particular about this side, or was just more the concept and you were going to put the concept somewhere?
No, I mean, a little bit of everything. I think the everything kind of fell in place. Definitely, on this side of the I-35, even though it's only about 10 minutes from here, it's not that far, but we have this one big I-35 in the middle, and it literally is dividing the town. And traffic is crazy, and people who are on this side of town, they'll still come to Le Rive, but if they have an option to come here, they'll probably more lean towards coming here. And then, of course, it's a gorgeous, area. It fits here. in what we were trying to do.
I walked through this when it was a shell, and the transformation is wonderful. It's totally different. It's a beautiful look. I know, Kevin, you and I have talked about that Williams Drive crossing 35. I know they've been working on, but that's really kind of a choke point. So I guess it does make it a little harder to cross over.
Or like talk about it too much for the bridges on Austin Avenue also are a choke point right now, but hopefully we'll have some resolution on that soon. But I know being downtown, the downtown businesses are really good about being complementary. High tide rises all ships, kind of a mindset most of the businesses down there have it. They'll think, whether you come eat at my restaurant or your restaurant or whatever, it's going to help us all out. I think the Rivery kind of has that same feel or potential, if you will. You have a lot of good complementary restaurants in the Rivery. This one fills a gap that wasn't served, so I think you made a good choice. You are right, it's a different side of town, while geographically still very close by a crow flies. But from a consumer standpoint, having something on this side helps, but also it helps keep those areas, the downtown, from getting it too much capacity whenever you have restaurants in areas like this spread out.
Well, to Georgetown's credit, it's a problem that's come with growth. I mean, I know for the last couple of years, until this last year, it was the fastest growing city in the country with population over 50,000, like 2 years in a row. I mean, you think of all the cities in the country, that's amazing to see that kind of growth rate. So that's natural with the growth, and therein lies opportunity, and probably why she's now has her second facility, second store here.
Oh,
Those things
absolutely.
you have to manage.
Well, Vira, I'll play a little trivia with you. What do you think the estimated population of Georgetown is right now? Just city limits, not ETJ, just city limits.
Ooh. Just the city limits, 100,000 maybe?
115,000.
100.
Yeah.
Pretty good guess,
You
yeah.
did, 15,000. That was as of 25. Now we're into 26, so there's been more people coming here, so it's higher than that. Plus, there's plenty of little pockets that aren't city limits and just the edge. Plus, there's a lot of people that come in from the surrounding area.
I wish I could remember the.
Now, what is the population?
But the thing that grabbed me was what it was like 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I mean, that's what's really grabbed me, because it was something to change.
We estimate 59,000 in 2016.
Wow. See, yeah. So they're in all looks.
Cool.
Yeah.
When did you open La Rave in Georgetown?
2023, November.
Yeah.
November 2023.
So for even non-restaurant people, but start opening a new store like this, the market we've talked about, the opportunities that are here. What's harder about doing something like this than most people would recognize from looking from the outside? Is it having the capital? Is it staffing? What do you find particularly hard about this?
So restaurant business in general, it has a stigma, I guess, because a lot of the restaurants do fail. And, here I am on a fourth restaurant. I actually had two more that got sold in the past couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I think. And I think that this is just my take. I think that it's if you start running a restaurant as a enterprise and you kind of watch every single step of, from building the menu to having your staff to creating that atmosphere. And if you run it as a company, I think then it gives you a good framework to kind of get successful in that, in that restaurant niche. But I think a lot of the time when you see mom and pop restaurants, small businesses, they open the restaurant, there could be lack of training or not having enough restaurant background or even picking the wrong location. All that contributes to, failing a restaurant. But I think I want to say, when you do your market research and you find a good town like Georgetown, then that's very successful.
Yeah. And it seems like the best restaurateurs are creative people, or at least they have an appreciation for the creative side, the chef side, or whatever. And to me, it's always been kind of a left brain, right brain thing that sometimes doesn't translate as being as good on the operator side. And I'm not creative, so I would tend to miss opportunities because I would think of just the nuts and bolts of it, and I'd miss opportunities. It's sometimes hard to find somebody that has both. Like if you were investing, how do you balance the opportunities versus the risk? Like if you weren't doing this, but like in our business, learning someone to do something like this, or they're looking up to, what do you think they have to balance here? Everybody sees opportunity. When we grow fast, we can go bigger. But what do you think you have to balance when you're looking at something like this? Is it more capital related? Is it more managerial and staffing related. It seems like every person that comes into any kind of fame, whatnot, wants to get in the restaurant business. What do they not see when we come for a great experience and hospitality and the kitchen is cooking and all that? What do they not see? That's the part that gets them.
That's a great question, I think the biggest thing that people don't see is you have to have stamina to sustain your restaurant. I think people just open the restaurant and they don't realize how much work goes into it. Restaurants are open till 10 o'clock at night, and you have to have that kind of stamina to be there and to be present and then trust your people.
Yeah.
And you hire the right people who also furthermore takes that same concept. And I think that's where people just think that, okay, I'm gonna go to home at 6 o'clock, and that's not how restaurants are. We're just getting started. So I think that's the bigger. And then my background is engineering, and I worked in finance. So, like I said, I run these as a company, as a corporation, and you just have to make sure that all the cylinders are fired. Comes at 6 o'clock, and we are all prepared. It's like a game time. We always say in the kitchen that you're as good as your last crate that went out. So that stamina comes in really big. You have to make sure that just because you had a great service today, you got to wake up and do it all over again.
Yeah, you can't bag up inventory or put it on the shelf. It's got to be repeatable. So I guess processes and systems are so important. You have to have a system that's repeatable every night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we train to your staff so they can other staff that's in there can do it. Vira, as bankers, really what we deal in is risk. We get a loan request where we're looking at the risk and trying to underwrite the risk and make sure that we feel it's an acceptable risk. So if you are the loan committee making a decision, a loan comes before you for a restaurant, what's the question you're asking the lender trying to get the loan approved to make sure that the major risk for a restaurant is being mitigated and assessed? What would you say? Not your restaurant. You're looking at it as someone who has experience in it, and you're going to approve a loan. What is it you want to make sure that risk is mitigated somehow, some way for a restaurant?
You're trying to be you're trying to tell me to be a banker. Okay. Well,
It's someone comes to you and wants you to finance. They're going to open your restaurant.
They're my restaurant. That's your money. Yeah, you go.
Your money.
I think it's you have to also look at is there a creative person behind the restaurant? Because everything looks really good on paper, but can they keep the restaurant's growth as the market changes? And I think you have to be creative. You have to know what is the food trends are, and I think that's very important. It's very important to see that creative portion of the business, and then I guess you just have to make sure that they have some kind of a big background in business. They have taken some certain risk in their lives, and how much they're willing to, put in. Like, what is the family background? What is their, have they worked in a restaurant business before? Like, it would be naive to just loan money for somebody that has never really started before. Yeah.
That's what's so hard about startups. When people come to us with startups, it's one of the worst parts of our job to, they've got this dream, they've got a vision, they're passionate about it. But for what we do, we're lending insured money out there with very, very narrow margins. We have to look more at the jockey more than the horse. In other words, it's not the industry as much. It's like, who is the person that's got to execute the plan? Because a lot of times they have an idea. This would work great here, but it's really more dependent on, who's that person and what's been their historical ability to execute on that plan. Like for you, you're a proven operator. It's really low risk because you've done it so many times. But when you're projecting out from in the future, if you've been doing it for 10 years successfully, then years 11 and 12 can be pretty easy to predict. When you're in year 1, it's kind of hard to predict year 2 and 3, and it's really hard when people are so passionate about it. They're like, no, we're not saying it's a bad idea, but some of the best ideas in the world didn't start with a bank loan, or Dell computer didn't start with a bank loan, Microsoft didn't start with a bank loan, but then they became great, successful companies, so I think that's the hardest part of it, but you've gotten to the point, to your credit, you're just a proven operator, and that means so much, so that's what we really kind of look at too.
Yeah. And the other thing is that like I don't have any partners, so if there is a partnership involved, then who is the decision maker in that, and that can play a bigger role as well. So
Partnerships are really tough.
partnerships are tough, yeah.
When I know
Easy to get into and hard to get out of.
Oh, sure.
I know of several folks over the years that have decided they wanted to open a restaurant that had no experience in restaurants, and then after they get going for a while, they realize, I have no idea what I'm doing in restaurants. I've never done this before. So
Yeah, and they haven't even been in it.
yeah,
I'd encourage them to work in one.
Yeah.
Get next to one, get next to an operator like an Ebis, mentor them and try to figure it out before they jump in there.
yeah.
We're really excited for you. I didn't get to come to the soft opening, but I'm ready to come back and get in here. It's gonna be a great experience, as they all are. And you're a really great operator. It's fun to watch you do your thing, as we say.
Yeah.
And so much congrats to that. I know you're excited. Really excited to have this open.
Yes, absolutely. I think this is a fun project. I took inspiration from all around the world when I was building this restaurant, and decorating this place, and it really felt good. I mean, it took longer than what I anticipated, but
How has the response been so far?
people are
Really
loving
soft
it.
openings. You haven't had your formal opening, I guess, but so far,
Yeah, I think people just come in and literally just taken aback with the surprise that, oh my God, it's so pretty. And I said, it's a woman who decorated this. So I see that, and then it makes me feel that I'm able to provide a place for everybody around here to just come out and just kind of felt like you're transported to Europe.
It made me think, the evidence, how hard that is, and we'll wrap up. But it reminded me of how hard it is. A restaurateur told me many years ago, the reason it seems like he rolls out his opening is because a lot of people come and he wants them to have a good first experience. But it's so hard to get that execute. You can't just open up the first day, and that it's such a system that he wouldn't even market for the first month or two. So when they do come, they have a good experience and they come back. Because if you have them too early, they kind of, we're kind of rolling this process out. And I think that's evidence of how hard it is. Last easy question. Name. Le Rive and Sovian.
Yep.
Where do the names come from?
Oh, so Le Rive is my name backwards. That's just easy, right? It's Vira with the L at the end, so it's Le Rive backwards. And Sovian is the first two letters of my daughter's name. Her name is Sanaya, and Vira for VI, and then my mother, Ann, for Anna. So I was just playing. I love playing with the names, and that's where it came from. So it's a 3 generations.
It works. It sounds very exotic and European.
Oh, but when I told my daughter, she was like, "Mom, I cannot even boil pot of coffee." And I said, "Well, you know what? At least you're lucky your mom can cook, And then my mother is a great chef. She's really inspirational, and so that's where the name came from.
decide that you want to add an extra letter. Todd will light up a T at the end.
Yeah.
Sauvignon.
Sounds pretty fine French of you there, Kevin. Where are you from? Troy or somewhere?
Troy, Texas.
Yeah, not you. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. It was so pleasure talking to you guys, and can't wait to welcome you. You were here for the soft opening, but yeah.
We'll bring people with us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast so we can see more information like this, more business stories, what's going on in the communities, those types of things.